two more administrative actions that government is taking. One of them, of course, as I mentioned briefly, is procuring essentials like tomatoes from various parts of the country to north of India, to Delhi, certain mandis here in Himachal, in Delhi, in UP, but it's not available to all, it's only in certain places. But can you now buy a tomato for 50 rupees a kg?
It's going to happen in the days to come.
Apparently it was supposed to happen from 15th of August.
They are procuring it from Nepal.
Okay.
Half of it has already come.
Okay.
And another half, that is another 10,000 tons that is going to be coming in the times to come, and that will be retailed at 50 rupees a kg in at least the mandis of North India, especially Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and around. Apart from that, the other measures that the government is taking to spar inflation is they are facilitating open market retail of wheat and rice crops, at least to start with. That's as much as it can do, because like Kartik mentioned and our guest mentioned, there's nothing you can do about unseasoned rainfall in the destroyed crop. So that, but yeah, procuring from Nepal is what it is doing right now, specifically for tomatoes. So
And also, you know, interesting, because we had this discussion yesterday. We had representation from Quantico, an economist who joined us, Yuvika joined us. She said it's important at this point in time to tame inflation. We must look at also importing certain items. So government, of course, trying to import as much as it can. Wheat, pulses, we continue to be a big importer of pulses. We don't have enough capacity here in India. As far as export curbs is concerned, we've already put export curbs in rice. We can't do that much with others because we don't produce abundance of other crops. But it's a very difficult situation to tackle at this point in time, Kartik. Because, you know, as you mentioned, there's not much that RBI can do. But government, of course, will have to do a lot.
Exactly.
It's an election year.
I think we'll have to keep the monetary policy completely separate when we talk about supply side challenges to food inflation. And that is what the government will have to battle and take head on without really expecting any other agency, including the RBI, to fight that battle on its behalf. So as far as rice exports go, I think it's not the first time we've done that. Last year also, when the war between Russia and Ukraine had broken out, we had curbed wheat exports to other countries. And Ukraine, being a large wheat exporter to the world, had seen certain pockets of the world deal with inflation, food inflation on account of wheat. But India wanted to protect its own demand of wheat and its own supply chain to provide enough wheat to its own population, had curbed wheat imports. Similarly, we have curbed rice imports right now because we want to tame inflation. We don't want our rice producers selling outside of India, profiteering from it at the cost of Indian citizens paying higher than usual for these essentials. But I think tomatoes this year, of course, have gone really sour when it comes to the food inflation story. And
tomatoes are having their revenge.
They're having their revenge. But I think what is important to note is that, yeah, at least, you know, I mean, I read that Business Standard story this morning on the front page about government wanting to, and Mr. Somnath there saying that, yeah, the government is going to fight this. But unfortunately, it lacked details on what the government is really going to do.
What administrative actions the government will take?
The government is watchful. The government is seized of the challenges. Yeah, obviously. I mean, you know, if we are government, obviously is seized of those challenges. But I think what the government needs to come out and state very clearly is exactly what are the 3, 4, 5, 10 measures that will be taken to tame food inflation, because food inflation is not something which is going to impact only a few people in the population or a small percentage of the population. It is something that impacts everybody. More importantly, it is food inflation being in the 11% range, 9% and upwards range in most states is going to directly impact the vote bank. And that is something, if nothing else, that is something that the government has to stand up to, vary off and contain it. So, you know, even at the cost of going out of the way to ensure that it's able to tame this food inflation, and if that results in votes next year, well, obviously it's a double advantage for the government. But I think the import from Nepal is something which is at least paving one tick mark on that list, some direction. That import of essentials is something that the government is open to doing. But look at the quantity there. I mean, 5 tons is what? 5 tons is 5,000 kgs.
So that's why I mentioned it's only Uttar Pradesh.
Exactly.
But like you mentioned, exports, Nepal has requested Indian government to ease rice and wheat exports to them.
Obviously, it
So
has to
probably
be a
it's
give and take.
give
You
and
know,
take.
it has to be a give and take. So the point is, 5 tons is what? 5,000 kgs. 5,000 kgs is
nothing.
Is pittance, right? And
It is
the
pittance.
and the next tranche of 10 tons, 10,000 kgs is also very little.
Very little.
So I'm saying, you know, you sell this at 50 rupees a kg, is going to evaporate within a few minutes or hours at best. I mean, this stock is
Couple
only
of
going to last you a
families.
day.
So that's why they specified it's only Uttar Pradesh and probably Delhi.
It has to be
around.
Uttar Pradesh because of the proximity to Nepal.
Nepal.
So it's going to come by road most probably.
Low shelf
It
life.
will
Short
go
shelf
into maybe eastern Bihar, eastern UP and some parts of western Bihar to begin with. Some of those might make their way into Indian mandis, but at the same time the government has told NAFED and NCCF that find out ways, work out means to cap tomato prices at 50 rupees a kg. How it does that, what is the magic wand any of them have, it's something that needs to now be disclosed. You know, how long are citizens going to face with this issue of high tomato prices?
Absolutely.
And not just tomato prices, overall veggie prices. You look at ginger, you look at green chilies, you look at
Everything.
potatoes. I mean, everything is
Becoming
obviously
difficult
at
to
a
perhaps prepare and eat 2 square meals a day. Basic essential items are priced and at a very exorbitant price. Vegetables at a very exorbitant price at this point in time. And speaking from experience, I'm sure it's very difficult for an average person, for someone who's a daily wage earner to procure these items. These are eatables. What do you eat if you can't eat vegetables? I think the government will have to be very, very careful. And if anybody's been able to buy tomatoes at 50 rupees a kg, please write to us. Let us know.